Hello, hola. Good evening, everyone. Good evening for me, and it would be good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. So, hi, Creamy. Hi, Mary. Hi, Parry Rock. Hi, Kirsten. So, no bother, thanks, Creamy. So, I don't know about everybody else, but this story has come up in the past 4 days, and it's quite horrific. Hi, Marsha. So, this is the story. We don't know this young man's name as yet. Good morning. I'm good, Marsha. How are you? So some places are only 4 hours behind me at the moment. Wow. So this story is about Kimberly Sullivan, the alleged stepmom from hell, and this really, really sad story of this young man, or man now as he is, who has been kidnapped. She's been charged with kidnapping. She's been charged with keeping somebody in captivity for 21 years. And it's just the saddest thing ever. It really, really is. I have been looking up quite a lot about it. And she has posted $300,000 bail money. That was a bond. But I take it in America, when you post something like your bond's 300,000, you pay like 10% of that, wouldn't you? So she would have paid like 30,000 to get out of jail at this point. Feel free to correct me because I'm really, really not sure. But I'm going to post a little video here.
Show the man had been in school until age 11 and was eventually.
It's not the one I wanted. I do apologise.
Show the man had been in school until age 11 and was eventually taken out. When he was in school, teachers say they could tell he was hungry. His former principal says everyone was concerned with this child since he was 5 years old. You knew something was wrong. It was grossly wrong. The principal says he and school staff called the stepmom and the Connecticut Department of Children and Families, or DCF, at least 20 times, saying, "We knew it. We reported it." Adding, "Not a damn thing was done." That's the tragedy of the whole thing. Police say they did 2 welfare checks on the home back in 2005, but there was no cause for alarm. And DCF says if claims are not substantiated, they're erased from the record after 5 years. The ordeal ending recently when police say the man set his own bedroom on fire to be rescued. He weighed only 68 pounds. His stepmother, 56-year-old Kimberly Sullivan, faces assault, kidnapping, and other charges. Her lawyer denying the accusations, appearing to place blame on the man's biological father, who died last year.
That's quite grotesque, I think, to blame just the father. And I wish the father was here to answer some questions, to be quite frank. But I've got other questions. So Kimberly has 2 daughters. Where do they fit into this? Because surely people saw what was going on in that house and knew it wasn't right. Surely. So that poor man got a lighter, some hand sanitizer, and some tissue and started a fire. I know, Kirsten, it's so sad. He started a fire in his bedroom, and I think at this point he is so emaciated. I think he probably knew that he probably wouldn't have had long. I don't think he would have had long to live. So it's probably been his last attempt his last bid for freedom at this point. I just can't even imagine. It's absolutely... So what he survived on was 2 sandwiches and what amounted to 2 little bottles of water a day. He is, was it 5'9", they said? And he weighed 34 kilograms. His body mass index was 11. Now, I don't know if anybody will remember recently the other case where the mother, she was so cruel to her son, and this boy had learning difficulties, and he died. He was so underweight, he was so emaciated that he died. And I feel as if this is going to be a similar story. But I think people, like her daughters, have become so accustomed to the way that he has been treated that it almost became the norm. But even his father being alive and allowing that to happen to his own son, it sounds to me as if the father, they're equally guilty. I know, Harry Rock, that's true. They're equally guilty. But that brought me to another question. So his father died a year ago. Kimberly is trying to blame the father for this, but she's continued to lock him up day after day. Hi, sweet potato. She's continued to keep this boy locked up day after day. She's continued to starve him, and apparently he get taken out the room to do chores. This is she. So he get taken out the room to do chores, and I think he said something like, people who knew the family, who'd seen the family, had literally seen, well, one neighbour had seen him about 3 times his whole life. Another neighbour said when her daughter was young, she waved to what they thought was a child at the window, but he's been so emaciated they think it was actually probably an adult at that point. This has been taken away by the police. There was also there's also a video going around of his rescue. You don't see him in it, you just see him getting taken in, hi sweets, into the ambulance. And I just didn't want to show that. But at the beginning of that video, she's saying, yeah, my stepson's in there. My two cats. And she's saying, my dog's shaking, and they were saying to her, right, go away, get away from the house. And she knew if that boy or that man had survived, she was in trouble, she knew. And she's trying to say he wasn't held captive, but the police have confirmed, hi Vault, that there was locks on the outside of his bedroom door. But she is wicked. So Tom Perrone, who is a school principal, thank Vault. Tom Perrone, who was a school principal, said from the age of 5, they knew there was a major problem for this child. He said the CPS were called, or DFS were called at least 20 times over the next 6 years, and nothing was done. But the problem is, I think when they got to the home, they made this child lie. So although the school said he's always been underweight, which leads me to believe they're going to claim that he has a physical condition. I think this is where this is heading. They're going to say that he has got a physical condition and possibly a mental condition too. But CPS last visited the home in 2005. They went twice, and if nothing occurs after that or they don't get a report, I think it's within 5 years, they close that case. So this is where I think he's possibly slipped through the net. You know, so sad, so sad.
Show the man had been in
You
school
shouldn't be the
until
same
age
videos as
11 and was eventually taken out.
Sorry, I'm going to remove this.
Out. When he was in school, teachers say they could tell he was hungry. His former principal says everyone was concerned with this child since he was 5 years old. You knew something was wrong. It was grossly wrong. The principal says he and school staff called the stepmom and the Connecticut Department of Children and Families, or DCF, at least 20 times, saying, "We knew it. We reported it." Adding, "Not a damn thing was done." That's the tragedy of the whole thing. Police say they did 2 welfare checks on the home back in 2005, but there was no cause for alarm. And DCF says if claims are not substantiated, they're erased from the record after 5 years.
So I think listening to that, but again, if he has been so emaciated, which people are saying he was, then why couldn't they say, well, we want a medical diagnosis? So the other thing is, she's got 2 daughters. Her husband, she said, died, his father, over a year ago. Hi, Sarah. Died over a year ago. So did he not attend the service? Did he not go to his own dad's funeral? And the man has claimed that after his father passed, the things deteriorated. So you can only imagine he's been underweight and starving his whole life. His whole life. You can only imagine what that would mean to get worse. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. I feel extremely sad about this because she used him to clean up. She did use him to clean. To me, that's modern day slavery. Have they just enslaved him so long and they've let it go so that they couldn't let him go? What would have happened if this boy had have passed or this man had have passed? I've got a feeling that that would never have been declared. So when he was taken out of the school at the age 10, 11, people did question where he was, and they said initially he had been moved to another school, and then they said that he was being homeschooled. The police have said that they know all of this is lies. I just think it's extremely sad. I had another little video, let's see it. Let's see if I can find the other one. As I said, even as she says now, so I had another video that I put together. Excuse me. I'm not very well today, that's why I'm not bothered going on video either. Oh, I broke it. I know, Kirsten, it just breaks my heart. It's just so heartbreaking. don't know what I've done with one of my videos. Unless it's in this one. Oh. Don't know what's going on here. Don't know if that's the same one. Do apologise. I was working today, and after work, because I was so busy, I just didn't have a minute. I was trying to compile things and put it together because I did want to go live. And believe it or not, Pablo's not been well. He's also had a runny eyes and runny nose. And last night I started taking a really, really sore throat, and I thought, touch wood, I hope you not get bird flu, because we've been out every single day around locks and parks. So I'm waiting for a video to upload. Hopefully it's a different one. No, I think it's the same one. All that for the same video, that's great. No, just delete that. Oh, what's going on? Oh, corned beef and chicken. Well, he doesn't usually have allergies. I think he's actually unwell. His eyes have been runny, his nose has been runny. And I gave him an antihistamine the other day, and he was fine. But earlier on, I could see I cleaned his eyes, and we've been out today, but not out. We've not been out for a big walk, which I've been really enjoying, and so has he. But as I said, I did want to talk about this case because I think it's absolutely tragic. So this man is now 32 years old. He's 5 feet, hi Heidi, 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing just 68 pounds. And as I said, this all took place last month. She was arrested on Thursday night, but again, his BMI was 11. I think this is actually a miracle that this man is actually still alive. And I think he probably knew how weak he was and how at risk he was of losing his life. And this fire was a last, hi Cooch, this fire was a last ditch effort to escape. But the video of his escape, I just didn't want to upload it. I just didn't. You don't see anything. You see the emergency services. I should have actually probably showed her. She's at the front of the house. 11, Sarah, yeah. She's at the front of the house and she's saying, they're saying, is anybody still in? She goes, my stepson. And she's like, my two cats. And she's like, my dog's shaking, my dog. And he was like, well, move away. She knew when that boy came out, and touch wood, like she was probably hoping that smoke would have finished that situation for her. Hi, 11. But she would have still have had to have answered questions. Because why was that man 68 pounds, a grown man? Why was there a lock on the outside of his door? Like, ma'am, you had questions to answer. Have you been sick, Cooch? I'm sorry to hear that. Pablo has been unwell and I think he's given it to me. So I just think it's extremely sad in this day and age. As I said, neighbours have said they saw her two daughters who looked fine and healthy. If you know, I just can't imagine treating another human being like this. And he said he was taken out to clean the house. Oh, I'm sorry, Cooch. I hope you're feeling better. There's nothing worse than Eric. Bronchitis is bad too. So on Thursday, police in Waterbury, Connecticut arrested Kimberly Sullivan. She's 56. So she's been doing this to this kid, hi Gypsy, since she was 35. So it's not like she was a young woman that took up with his dad and get carried away with this and it became a thing. So strange, just strange that a woman at 35 years of age would be okay with this, moving in with some guy and being okay with this or being with him. So she's been charged with assault in the first degree, kidnapping in the second degree, unlawful restraint in the first degree, cruelty to persons and reckless endangerment in the first degree. So they discovered the malnourished man on the 17th of February. This is when this happens, during that house fire. And he'd used a lighter, hand sanitizer and paper, and he said, I wanted my freedom. How sad. Do you know, I'm so glad that he did that to get himself out of there. I think that's so brave. So brave. So has anybody else been following this at all? I mean, see when she went to court, she was smiling and didn't seem to have a care in the world, which again I find strange in itself. Oh, so he said hi earlier but doesn't see it. So in this instant, more info came out yesterday. It's just absolutely tragic. The level of cruelty for me is just absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And apparently her lawyer said she was surprised at this. Oh, really? Apparently, well, I didn't realise a 50% cut to the Department of Education. Tut, tut, tut. Oh, thanks, Heidi. Heidi, I'm sorry, I didn't even know you'd covered this. It shows how much I've been missing. Brilliant, thank you. Updated info. So when you say from the family, is it from her family or his uncle? So his uncle said that he tried to get involved a few years ago. I did read that actually. And that he did try and reach out, but he kept getting pushed away. Any efforts that he was making were being rejected, but he did say that he did try and reach out. Wow, so sad. The dad and sisters. Wow. One of the officers said, in 33 years of law enforcement, this is the worst treatment of humanity that I have ever witnessed. It's so, so sad. Can you imagine 21 years locked up? That's got to mess with your psyche. Absolutely, it's got to mess with your head. And she maintains her innocence and looks forward to clearing her name. Unbelievable. No, PMR, this is someone else. This is a new case. This man's 32 and he set a fire in his bedroom to escape imprisonment. He said he was not allowed out of the room to bathe or use the restroom and developed a system in which he urinated into empty bottles that he'd funnel out of the window and defecate in newspaper that he would dispose of when let out for chores. To keep him from escaping or seeking help, Sullivan allegedly threatened him with less food and longer lockdowns. He said his father and two sisters were aware of his treatment, although they did not participate in it. Wow. He would sometimes let his son out of the room to watch television with him. When Sullivan took his sisters to events, his father, who died in January 2024, he'd suffered from health issues and was a wheelchair user. So the father's been, thanks Heidi, the father's been dependent on her too. So his biological mother hadn't been there for he was 2. After his father passed away, he spent anywhere from 22 to 24 hours per day locked in the space. And he had his 2 sandwiches and 2 small bottles of water a day. He was asked by investigators if he was ever hungry, and he responded, all day, every day, my entire life. They diagnosed him with post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and cachexia, a wasting syndrome often seen in cancer patients, according to the affidavit. I did recognise the word cachexia through paperwork I used to do in care homes. Unbelievable. I mean, the DCF are saying they're going to look into it. It's too little too late. It's too little too late. You can look into it if you want. It's too late. Hold on a second. Thanks for sending me that, Heidi. So he was at school from the age of 5 to 11, and the school always knew there was something going on. They always knew that, and they reported it many times. They could tell that he was hungry, he was underweight. They just could tell there was something off, and they continued to report this. But when they got to the house, she would get him, to lie and say that everything was fine. But that's still not going to explain why you're so underweight. So there's got to have been lies getting told. So they said that he'd been moved to another school, and then they said that he was homeschooled, but nobody saw him after the age of 10. So he's basically slipped through the net. It is. The thing is, what school did the girls go to? What was the age difference between her daughters and him? And he's saying they were aware. Were they so desensitised because they were so used to it? It meant nothing. Absolutely wild. This is wild. And for me, this is modern day slavery. She's used him. She posted $300,000 bond, and she got out of jail after one day. Mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. But I was saying that earlier. Although the bond would have been 300, oh my God. Oh my God. See, that makes me absolutely sick. So that's what I was going to say. It said the bond was posted at 300k, but I didn't know how much that she would have had to have paid. I thought it was 10%. I thought that would have been 30,000. Wow, 305k. Unbelievable. But as I said, Heidi, was he not at his father's funeral? Because people, or his memorial, people would have asked questions. But people at heart have got backup stories. They've got health conditions put on these people, mental health conditions put on these victims to explain away their oh, she did, Heidi. I definitely saw that. But the use excuses and stories, they've got it all planned up. No, he was not. I had a feeling he wasn't. But again, this boy, if he hadn't have started that fire, I can only imagine that if he'd passed away, he would have been buried somewhere. That would have been the end of that. His bravery in setting that fire, he knew he was taking a chance, but I think he knew it was his last chance. So sad. Yep. I've got a wee picture over here. And she's mind blown, apparently. Mind blown that she's been accused of this. Look at her olive jewellery on. I wonder if she thought that she was okay. The 17th of February, the fire took place. She has only been arrested last Thursday. So she's had a couple of weeks. I wonder if she thought she was plain sailing. Unbelievable. Yeah, he was willing to die to get out. I mean, that's how many times do you hear that? People are conditioned. Even they're conditioned. Hi, Irish lass. Even they're conditioned. I know, 2 cups of hot and 2 sandwiches a day. But PMR, I had mentioned that boy earlier, the one with autism, that was so underweight and he passed away. And the mother has been charged with his basic, oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, I'm not at my best this evening. She was charged with his neglect, his abuse, and his I'm telling you, my head is fried today. Take my phone for a start. Manslaughter was the word I was looking for. Do you know, I could hear it, I could see it, but I couldn't say it. That's unbelievable. She was basically charged with his death. And I mean, that was a horrible case. And his brother, they were giving that boy cold baths. Everything, I mean, like making him sit in baths for hours. She was being really, really cruel to him, hurting his testicles and like really cruel. He was a kid. His brother was made to join in with that. It's the same, I don't know if you have seen this book in America, The Child Called It. There was one child in the family that the parents were really, really cruel to, and he was treated differently from everyone else, and they were encouraged to abuse that child. And again, children growing up in that environment, they became complicit without even, they were groomed to do that to their brother. So bad. But definitely, this is definitely something that I'm going to be following. I'm sure Heidi will too. And I just wanted to jump on a wee quick live and just go over this. So I'm going to jump back off again. As I said, it was just a wee quick live. I wanted to bring this up and see what people's thoughts were on it. Hi, Jodie. What people's thoughts were on this story. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm going to go and see to my little sick dog. He's definitely not well tonight. He's actually lying in bed with a blanket over him. But listen, thank you very much for everybody who's popped in. Sorry, Jodie, you came in as I'm leaving. And I hope you all have a lovely evening or a lovely afternoon.